Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and that means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, our Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. Yeah, there's not a lot going on in the world of 14. What the hell are we going to talk about today? I don't know. I'm your host, Mike Byrne. We'll figure it out. If it's a little shorter than normal, whatever. Who cares? Thank you for hanging out. If you're watching live with us on twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, we thank you so much. Chime in with your opinions as we go through the show and talk about a bunch of things. And if you're watching on YouTube, listening on Audible, Spotify, any of those podcast platforms, thank you. We appreciate it. Give it a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, turn on the notifications, comment, all that good stuff that feeds the algorithms. But most importantly, if you like what we do here, tell a friend. This is episode 124. Joining me to go over all the fun stuff today, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. I'm ready. I'm ready to do this.
You ready?
I'm going to do it.
I'm
going to do it.
Wait. What are you going to do?
Next week.
Wait, what are you going to do?
Things. Sunday, I will be doing Power Wash Simulator.
Oh yes.
Oh, over on your stream.
Yeah, and then Foam Stars comes out in 5 days. So I'm gonna get my foam on. So I'm gonna wash and then I get foamed up.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't want to do the show anymore. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I'll be picking up Foam Stars, courtesy of PlayStation subscription. So, like, even if I don't play it, I'm definitely claiming it. So it's there. Yep. Also on the line, Mr. Paul Berland, a.k.a. Flynn. What's up, Flynn?
Oh, just glad that Target's finally picking up Power Wash Simulator. He needs to clean Midgar.
Yeah, I mean, my brother Havoc, I don't know if he's in chat or not for this particular show, since this is, like, very specific. He's always here for Gaming Gumbo, but he's got like over 100 some hours in Power Wash. Like every time, it's just become a joke. Like every time my kids check they're on Steam, they'll say, "Hey, Dad, what? Uncle Buddy." That's their nickname for him. It's not, his name isn't Buddy. Uncle Buddy's on Power Wash Simulator. Like he's always on the damn thing.
It is such a relaxing experience.
I still don't own it, but it's on Game Pass right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still on Game Pass.
Yeah, so I guess
Final Fantasy DLC is still free.
Is it really? Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know.
I got it on PS Plus. So.
You get to see the extra details inside of the God Scorpions, which is fun.
Ding.
Lord.
Yeah, lots of things.
Yeah, hey, not a lot going on in the world of Final Fantasy XIV this week. I mean, you may still be finishing up 655. And if you are, cool. You're probably speculating on some of the lore. You know what? Okay, fine. Flynn, I'll give you a few minutes. I know, like, you've just been Encyclopedia Eorzeing it out. I didn't let you.
Document now.
I didn't let you do it. You're like kind of like creeping out of the bottom of your shot here. Let me go ahead.
Yeah, I'm at a weird angle to normal just to hide my friend off.
To hide our co-host, Mr. Grayshirt. Yeah, no worries. So I didn't let you do it last show because if the patch had just come out. It was only 48 hours old, but I know there are a few little lore tidbits, speculative type things, because there weren't like massive spoilers, but maybe some speculation. So I'm gonna give you 3 minutes right now to buzz through some of your favorites that you've been digging into. What do you got?
Oh, cool. One straight away for Tark. During no events during 6.5. Extremely hot food has now become popular, all thanks to Zero's tolerance to curry, and it's blowing everyone's head off. As we go over into Terrell, we have the main guy, Gruel Jar Jar, known as the Dawn Servant, also known back in the day as the Autarch, back when Ketenram the Blue first sailed over and established the trade routes. He's also got a few adopted kids, as we know from Muktamak, Koana, who we know is was a student over in Osharian. Speculative, that's the person getting hold of Urianger and Fangred due to them being Archons. Let's see what else I got down. The current theories for Erenville are either he's one of the other adopted children, or he belongs to the Wallachie tribe due to his blue tinge in his hair, because of the blue ether being so
prevalent,
sacred to the tribe. So Tural, as we'll come to know it as unified, has only happened over the last 80 years, which has given us an idea how long the Mamul Jar live, because that was also Kalul Jar Jar, so he's at least 90 to 100 years old at this point. No wonder there's a succession to the throne. The main other things we notice are packets with us. Valak Commander is probably the biggest thing we got as a monster. He's described as an enormous winged creature with skills hard to steal and rules the skies. We also know he's involved in this succession rite, and he was known to be a myth for quite a few years. So it's a potential he could be an icon or a primal that's resurfaced. And the last bit are the Tural tribes themselves, the ones who reached war. The reason why none of them could take full power is because of just how they were built. So the ones from the frozen lands up north in York Tural, they couldn't deal with the desert sun, and a bunch of the open plains couldn't deal with living in the jungle. And that's all the main tidbits I've got. Yeah.
My big question is, what the hell was going on in Tural when the rest of this was like all going down, right? Like when we had to fly to space to save everything. Like, were they aware that like, hey, something's going on with our world here, or like, were they unaffected? Like, what did they look up in the skies and see?
Of what's going on with what seems to be happening there? A very Midgar-Estar Terra-style city, combining elements from 7, 8, and 9. So that's what's hyping me up now for Dawn Trail, is what's happening in Solution 9. Screw the Succession. That's just Monster Hunter Beach episode. I need to know about our future city.
There you go.
Wow.
Lore speculation from Flynn. I'm sure. Have you guys done like a more detailed lore discussion over on Within Crisis?
No, because it's
planning
just been random streams for now, because Ash is still away traveling, so I haven't had a chance to do the podcast.
Well, there. Now, do you feel better? It's all off your chest and out in the out in the public air. We do have events going on, right?
Yeah.
We got the Mogness happening right now, and then we have the Valention's event coming up. So the Valention's, I mean, not much to talk about right there. There is a new emote.
Yeah.
New emote.
Woohoo.
So
finally get heart hands to show the love to chat.
Little heart hands. Let's talk about the Mog one though for a little bit, because there have been some pretty substantial changes to the way things are working here, Tark. And honestly, I gotta say, although there's no real rewards that I'm like personally like, the Twin Tanya barding's pretty badass, but there's no minions that I need or anything like that, so I haven't been horribly motivated to take part in the event. But like the encyclopedia, the way they've structured some of the repeatable quests, there's some changes that seem to be well received. I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, it's actually gotten me to do ocean fishing, because that's the Ultimog part, and it looks like it's giving more. It's the same stuff. No, it's more than the same stuff.
There's more.
You didn't get anything from Gold Saucer. You didn't used to get anything from fishing like this. So there's more options. The fact that there's weeklies and an overall event one, it's actually really cool. And you don't have to like grind it out. You can do a little bit of everything that you normally would be doing. So this has been awesome. I love it. I do need some Mog Tombstones. I got 2 mounts I can get. I can get 1 minion to expand my lead on you. And it's all been
What
great.
minion don't you have?
Are
you ahead of me again?
Yeah, I'm at 240.
On minions?
440 on minions.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the hell I'm at.
Last I checked, was
tell you in a
second. I think you were at 435 or something like that.
Go look it up here.
I haven't claimed my encyclopedia one yet. Anyways, it's the Eureka one that I didn't have yet.
Oh, so yeah. What do you think, Flynn? You like it the way it's reorganized?
Nice It's nice that is it the daily challenges that are unique to everybody? Or is that a weekly?
I think the weeklies are unique
Yeah.
to everyone.
Yeah, so that's nice. So it's no longer just, going into Autumn Vale with blue mages and spam, spam, spam. Fair enough, you can still do that with the Praetorium. But it's nice that they're involving so much more variety of activities, fates especially. Gives
Yep.
more people a chance to get some gemstones, buy some vouchers, make some money on top of doing this. This is hopefully how they do it going forward, because we know this is only part 1 of 2 before we get to Drone Trail.
Yeah, we're gonna get a little part 2 action on this one. So like, I like the changes. I really do. Fishing, like, that's made so many people happy. Just like the
I mean, mellow out every 2 in-game hours, real life hours even.
Yeah. In other 14, go ahead, Tark.
I was like, I actually spent like an hour trying to figure out how to do ocean fishing. So now I'm learned up. I'm like, hey, okay.
Nice.
You
That's a
triple hook your
process.
spectrals, and you
Well, you can blind double hook, and then you can boost or redo that fish if it's the right one, and then you can boost it and then triple hook it and get big numbers. So yeah, good times.
Hey, the Final Fantasy XIV live action TV series that we reported on a long time ago as possibly being thing. Like, it was back in 2019, I think, when it was first actually announced as an official thing. And then, of course, COVID happened. So, like, what's going on with the project? Haven't heard a lot. It's not a thing anymore.
Womp womp.
Unfortunately, responding to Kevin Satrin on Twitter, Dinesh Shamdasani said that the project was dead. We took around a fantastic pilot script by Ben Lustig and Jake Thornton, along with a multi-season plan they built with our showrunners, but it got rejected across the board. The size and scale needed to do it right proved too much for anyone to want to risk. Amazon came the closest. Somebody else followed up asking Tark, like, hey, maybe an animated series is a way to go for this. And it says, hey, that might actually be harder. And by the way, all the rights at this point are back in Japan, unfortunately. So
I've always been excited for an animated one. We saw that Korean animated trailer basically for 14, and I was like, yes, this is what we need. Yes.
And the 9 animated thing is still supposedly coming at some point, right?
Up in the air, as far as we know.
With the remake.
I don't think we've heard anything about along with the remake.
They just keep hitting us. We're mentioning 9. That's as much as you get.
Right. We're gonna tease you just a little bit. So that's sad. I was kind of like mixed emotions on the whole thing anyway. Because it was like, I don't know if I really want to watch a live action show recreating this, like the main storyline of the game. But am I okay with watching, side stories in Eorzea that maybe are or are not canon? Like, how do you set that up? Do you make them canon? Is this going on in a different place of the world, or maybe hell, even a different star? Like, where do you go from there to kind of interface with the game, but maybe not interface with the game? So I kind of had mixed emotions on where they might take it anyway. I'm sad we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
But
I would have loved them to do a miniseries just full of company of heroes that happened during the gap that we had in 1.0 to 2.0, where they dealt with Leviathan. Just to get Mutamix joining, just having a goblin with, rogue and pirates and everything.
Right.
That could have been a cool story. Do that as a mini-series and everyone would have been happy.
Yeah, it was one of those things, though, that's like, if you wanted to integrate with the game in a meaningful way, right, like, then it just becomes another thing that the game's writers need to take into consideration when they're writing for the game. Right. And they're, we all don't kind of like the content drought right now as far as the expanded time between cycles. So do we really want to put anything else on the team? So it is sad to see it go, but if it couldn't be done right, I'm glad it's just not happening. I would rather it just not happen, than to do something half-assed. I know there's a lot of buzz for the Final Fantasy XIV tabletop game. Flynn, I know you are particularly excited as somebody
yes.
who is experimenting with some Final Fantasy related D&D one-off campaigns or one-shots.
That's still in the work for us lot.
If you are in Japan and extremely lucky, extremely lucky, there are going to be some play tests for the Final Fantasy XIV tabletop RPG on Saturday, February 17th and Sunday, February 18th. It's going to take place in Tokyo. You have to apply through the game's website. So you can just look up the tabletop board games website. And they're going to be picking about 200 people, about 75 minutes of testing for each session, each group that they send in there. So you got to be in Japan. You got to be extremely lucky to get in there. There are future tests planned. He says hopefully, and then says not hopefully. They are also in Japan, just other regions, Osaka and things like that. So it's got to be not far, right? Like the pre-order page has May 2024 on it as the release date.
Yep.
But that's always like a Tark. That's always kind of like it could change at any given moment. But is May reasonable if we're just doing playtesting now or public playtesting?
I want to say no, but like even
it's like either no or the playtesting's a formality.
I think the playtesting might be a formality, kind of a word of mouth. Like, here, try this, and tell your friends, and keep the marketing budget to a minimum. I just kind of want to be like a fly on the wall. I want to see if any of these players just really upset their dungeon masters with like polymorphing a boss, and the dungeon master to be like, "What the hell? Come on!"
No, that's what you're gonna do to me.
Absolutely. Sad news in the world of Final Fantasy XIV. So, if you remember Dad of Light, the television show, which I loved it in all of its delightful cheesiness. I absolutely adore
cheesy.
that show. Yeah, it's way cheesy. But that was based on Matey, who wrote the blog, right?
Sure.
Based on his real life experience. And then sadly, a few years back, Matey passed, right?
Yeah.
Well, now Matey's father has passed as well. And we lost the actor who played the father a few years ago too. But now, the dad known as Indy has passed away as well. So it's very touching tribute posted, but so sad. So sad. Saying he embarked. This is from Yamamoto, who posted the tweet on Monday that he had passed and said he's embarked on a new journey with Matey. So if you believe in any afterlives or anything like that, the two have been reunited. But yeah, very sad. That show, man, that show hit me in the feels, and it was so cheeserific. Like it absolutely was just boatloads of cheese. And I was there for it. I think I made my kids watch it. The ones who don't play Final Fantasy, I put it on again, and they were like, I don't play. I don't want to watch this. And I'm like, yeah, just watch one episode. And then they tore through the rest of them.
Binged it. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely binged it. Such a great show. If you haven't watched it, definitely go watch it. Yeah. Anything else going on in 14? Like, I feel like I had to have missed something, right? Like, that's all.
There was that Xbox spoof beta. I don't know if we covered that last week, but
yeah, we covered that last week.
Eventually, no.
Yeah, we covered that last week.
Okay. The only last thing I can figure for 14 is at the end of 655, Ishtola is the only scion that you cannot find in the world.
Oh, she's not back at Matoya's?
Nope.
Interesting.
Everyone else can be found unless they've already explicitly left Eorzea.
Yeah, she was the only one of the scions that wasn't given an epilogue at the end of, Esinian got his little moment. Thancred, Urianger got their moment. We know where the twins stand, so yeah. Even Graha's staying behind. So where's Y'shtola? Where's my cat girlfriend?
Man, she don't even know you exist, man. She can't even see you.
I know. Ever since I devoted to Zero, she's shunned me. So I get it. I understand. I deserve it.
Let's take a look at some other Square Enix news then. Sony State of Play was yesterday. 40 minutes of some new stuff shown off. We'll talk about a lot of it, almost all of it, on Gaming Gumbo this Saturday here on twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, 7 p.m. Eastern, as always. Dom and Yad joining me to go through all of that stuff, including your boy Hideo Kojima getting back into tactical espionage, which can be exciting. Sometimes I feel like the dude's a little too clever for his own good type creative, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Nothing Square Enix related at the State of Play. However,
we had film stars. Yeah.
Well, it was just a trailer. Like it was a commercial. That was just thrown
most of
out
it was
there.
trailers. Yeah. Anyways,
that was just thrown out there. That is because next week, on the 6th, February 6th, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is getting a State of Play all to itself, Tark. They're like, no, this is all by your lonesome. Go for it.
Even 16 didn't get its own State of Play, so it got a big chunk of one. But Rebirth deserves its own State of Play. I don't know if I even really want to watch it. I probably will just for the show. But
they're going to be so careful with spoilers. I think you're fine watching it.
They keep showing way too much. At least to us older generation that know the game. It's like, stop showing me story now.
Like if you don't know this is a thing and this is coming out and you're not buying it, like I think the people that are wanting it have already pre-ordered. And even though I say don't pre-order games like anymore, here I am pre-ordering the collector's edition, but you either are getting it or you're not. Like this State of Play isn't swinging people one way or the other, in my opinion, unless they not. Oh, by the way, it's coming out for Xbox, but I doubt it.
Yeah, it's the
PlayStation.
That's not going to happen at least right away. I mean, we have the rumors.
The State of Play.
We did talk last show about the remake. There are rumors that that's going to be coming to Xbox soon, but likely not until after the PR hype and initial sales buzz of Rebirth happens. Square Enix probably doesn't want to step on its own news there. The other news on this front here, I'm not surprised, but still, oof.
Yeah, this hurts.
Like we knew the number was going to be big, Flynn. We knew it was going to be big. Dual discs, just like everything else. PlayStation Game Size, that tracker website, has gotten a peek into the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth file size. And it clocks in at 145 gigabytes. Now, again, not surprising, but still surprising. Like, it's a number you'd just like, oh, God, that's a lot of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that more with a separate game from a separate franchise lately. So I bought Mortal Kombat 1. There's 90 gig on the back of the file. Right, I'll put that into download, install. 150 gig patch. Yeah.
Lord.
So C145 as a basis store set. If that's on a disc, brilliant. I can deal with that. That's not me leaving the PlayStation on overnight to install a game.
That's so Tark, what are you deleting?
I even have an extra SSD in my
same here.
Mine. And I'm like, wow, do I have the space? Do I need to delete Call of Duty? Because that thing's like 150 gigs. So maybe that goes the way of the dodo. But I'll find a way. I'll find a way, Dan. I'll find a way. I'm playing this game.
Installs find a way, as Jeff Goldblum said, right? Preload, remember, starts on February 27th, and then the official launch, of course, taking advantage of the leap year, getting that one extra day in the financial month, February 29th.
But don't forget, Square Enix planned it for a meteor the same day.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
You are weird.
It's something they actually
got Tark threatening to bathe on stream. You're not bothered by file size. Either you buy a bigger drive or you juggle. Wow, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I just
It's really your own option, or don't play,
I've got room.
or don't
Yeah.
play.
Or you know,
don't play.
beat games and get them off your hard drive.
Hey, a while ago we were showing some. I think we talked about these, didn't we? We showed some Nier and Tifa figures that weren't exactly what you would call legal, and we were having some fun with the fact that, hey, you know, all the different poses that they were advertising these things in.
Yeah.
Because they weren't exactly modest, let's say, as far as what was undergarments or a lack of undergarments, I could say. Well, Square Enix has not historically liked that stuff, right? They're very careful with their licenses and things like that, how you're going to treat their properties. They just scored a point in an unusual place.
Yeah, they did.
It's newsworthy just for the location this happened.
Yeah, just for where, right? Like they hit some widespread manufacturing and distribution of those counterfeit figures in China. Like in China, Square Enix.
Where they have a rule that they can just make their own copies of anything.
Yeah, like China and intellectual property, like just what's that? Doesn't matter. So apparently there was some work. This actually happened last year in May, but it wasn't like being publicly shared yet. There was a huge operation, Japanese authorities working with Chinese authorities, and during it they like seized a bunch of these Nier Automata and Final Fantasy VII Remake figures, pulled them off the market. And they said the company will continue to dedicate itself to the protection of its intellectual property so it may provide better products and services while maintaining and enhancing its brand image. It reminds its customers and distributors to remain vigilant and protect themselves against counterfeits. And there's actually people that are going to be brought up on charges in China here, Tark, which is unusual. It doesn't never happen, but it is an unusual happening.
Yeah, because China's protective of we can do whatever we want and, you know, force us. Like the fact that they're like, yeah, we'll assist you with this was actually just kind of mind blowing. Looking at these figures, though, I'm like, I kind of wish I got a hold of a couple of them. They look really good.
AliExpress,
anyways,
you'll probably find one or two left.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure they don't cost, you know, $400 to get that plus an emote. Like some Meister level sculptures that Square puts out. So they're just trying to, you know, protect their interests. And I get it. And the shocking part was that China was being helpful with this. So it was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, not something you normally see there, Flynn.
No, not at all. It's
I mean, that's like a long-standing point of contention between the United States and China every time our leaders
the UK
meet.
and China.
Oh, yeah. Every time the presidents meet, it's always, or in your case, what, prime minister?
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake, thumbs up. How about a Final Fantasy VI one? Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm a fan. Hey, we already talked about, it was a while ago, right? Where there was like actual pressure from inside. Like people inside Square Enix wanted to do a Final Fantasy VI remake. Well, if we go by Yoshinori Katase's statements in a recent interview with French YouTuber Julien Chiz, apologies if I'm pronouncing it incorrect. There is no accent aigu on the final E, so it's definitely not A at the end. He said, yeah, hey, you know, sure, there could potentially be a Final Fantasy, but here's the problem. Here's the problem. Let me tell you what the problem might be, Flynn. If we did Final Fantasy VI in the style of like a Final Fantasy VII remake, that'd probably take about 20 years to develop.
Yeah, no thanks.
He says he gets lots of requests from fans, media, and even people within Square Enix for a remake. And while he wouldn't rule it out as a potential, it's not currently in the works. And given the proposed timescale, probably wouldn't happen until everybody here, according to Nintendo Wire, or senior citizens. He just says, hey, there's simply too much content, too many characters, to be remade faithfully within a short period. But this is the one, right? Like Hironobu Sakaguchi has said, I'd consider coming back to Square Enix to do a Final Fantasy VI remake. So we still got 9's remake floating out there. Do you buy this, Tark? 20 years to do an FF6 remake?
They're so full of crap. And the thought of making it in the style of 7 remake,
that's not even the style I would want it.
No. And I've pined on this show for years, I feel now, that the path you take is to do it in the Octopath Traveler engine.
Yeah, the
Like,
2.5 HD.
Like it's perfect for that. The engine is gorgeous. 6 itself was gorgeous when it came out, so you put it in there, you brighten things up, you give the character models a few more pixels to kind of flesh them out into actual people. It would be amazing. That's the route I want them to take. I don't know if anybody was really clamoring for a 7 remake style of 6.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like I'd like to see it, sure.
It would be cool to see, but that's not what I'm asking for.
Right, but if you said, hey, they're going to remake 6, I would immediately, Flynn, assume that it was going to be in that 2.5 HD, Octopath Traveler's style, and I would have been totally okay with it.
Yeah, that's
like,
what
absolutely
pretty much everyone I've ever heard wanted in 6 remake. I said, give us the 2.5 HD, add some voice acting in. We're golden.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, that would be sick.
Because like obviously one of the most iconic ones, they did a pseudo 2.5D in the pixel remaster, and it looked gorgeous. That's what we want.
Yeah, and if there's story beats you want to make into cutscenes, okay, fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. Go ahead and do that.
And on some big ass cutscenes.
Yeah. If it takes 3 or 4 years to do it, go ahead and do it. Yeah, that's fine. Takal says the 20 is just a made up ass number. Like, I don't know. Like, if you think about Final Fantasy VII, and you assume that it will, like most of us believe, finish in 3, right? Finish in 3 games. That's what? 12, 15 years of total development? Total? From the time the project started being conceived to roughly when we could expect maybe a third?
I mean, I think it took them 15 years to actually pull their heads out of their ass and be like, yeah, we should probably do this.
Just about.
So,
yeah, it's like, when did development start?
I mean, Square has been milking their catalog and remasters and remakes, and some of them have been amazing.
They started
Star
being
Ocean
teased in 2009.
Well, yeah, part 1 was in development.
Before that.
Yeah, so part 1 was in development back in 2014 when the port was announced. So obviously it was already in there. Remake was officially announced June 2015 at E3, and we saw the first clips later in December. So let's say that they had been in development for 3 years at that point. They could have possibly been in there longer, but let's say they've been there 2 to 3 years. That means we're already at 12 years. So is 20 an unreasonable number?
Yes.
When you look at 6, if you did it in a full 7 remake style. Assuming, we're going to have 3 years or so between Rebirth and the final one, so we'll be clocking in right where I said about 15 years, maybe 15 to 17, let's say, to do a full finishing remaster of 7. Is 20 just an absurd made up number when you look at 6 if you did it in that style, Tark?
Yes. It's just yes, it shouldn't take that long. Absolutely made up. And to your point, Flynn, you're saying the thought came up. Like, I could argue that the thought of a 7 remake goes all the way back to the PS3 tech demo. Like, they should have been there's hype for this. Like, this should be a thing. And
they were very clear when they showed that off.
Yeah,
that they were like, we are not doing this. This is just showing up. And then it didn't matter. People thought they were making it and lying anyway.
Yeah, just like the show scenes from Final Fantasy's done up into new engine, because they did 8 for the PS2. And then after that, I said, no, we'll do our own separate tech demos. And that's how we ended up with Angry's philosophy going forward. It's like, yeah, we can't just give shit away anymore.
So here's where I said it's absolutely an absurd number. Like it's just unquestionable. Like I got to set up the question for the discussion, but just to get my opinion, it's absolutely an absurd number. It shouldn't have taken 17 or Final Fantasy VII 15 to 17 years to be remade from beginning to end. And honestly, there are thoughts going on in the process of Rebirth and the next one that I'm like, I don't even know if I like that they took things in certain ways, and we're going to talk about one a little further down here. In fact, we could just actually lump it in now. It makes a little more sense here. You know, that in interviews they're talking about Sephiroth and Aerith kind of get a bit of a reimagining in Rebirth as far as the way they're portrayed, because these are two characters that didn't have a ton of screen time in the original. Right. I mean, they were clearly main characters, but they didn't have a ton of screen time. And now that the whole story is being pulled out across 3 games, they're getting more screen time. So he says, Katasi says about Rebirth's story, I really want people to play the game and feel it directly. So I will not say too much here. But when comparing this scene, we know what he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
Very pivotal encounter.
Yep. Gold sauce
to how it was presented in the original, I'm confident that the audience will feel a great breadth of emotion from the extra level of detail in how the characters, Sephiroth and Aerith, are portrayed. Really, I can only say that I want players to experience what waits for them at the end of Rebirth and feel it for themselves rather than getting that secondhand. Different people will respond to it differently, but I think they'll want to pursue that feeling, whatever it is, and set out on their next journey soon. In regards to Sephiroth, Katasi said he's allowed the developers to explore the character in greater depth, making him an even more charismatic and appealing antagonist. How do you feel about these potential changes here, Tark?
I love all the changes. I love getting more Aerith time. I don't know what to expect from the end of Rebirth. I think there's going to be a huge curveball, but I love the expansion of Sephiroth, knowing that he's not, Seven Proper's Sephiroth, it's Advent Children's Sephiroth, but yeah, to get more interaction between him and Cloud is just that part of it really made Remake work for me. Just getting more between those two. Getting a lot more Aerith. I mean, you're right. The fact that there wasn't a lot of screen time for either of them, the fact that we could really sink our hooks into them, and if things still play out the way, it maybe just hits harder because we're just so invested in Aerith and Sephiroth now. So
I don't know, Flynn. How do you feel? Because I feel like there's always that. When you have a good antagonist, sometimes an element of mystery or not being quite sure of motivations or where an emotion might, they might maybe allude to a thought or an emotion palette for an antagonist, but not fully rigidly define it. And then sometimes when you get that, I see this a lot when in media, movies, TV shows, video games, when they go back and do a prequel, right? When they go and then they kind of just fill in the backstory for this big baddie, and you're just kind of like, oh wow, that was kind of a terrible backstory. And I don't think they're going to do that here. I don't anticipate them doing this full reimagining and cramming detail in there. But there's always that danger where you can kind of make what was a compelling character a little less compelling by giving more detail.
Yeah, big time. The biggest comparison that comes to my mind is Cowboy Bebop.
Although there would be some that argue Sephiroth isn't all that compelling.
Yeah. The character of Vicious between the two Cowboy Bebops. He went from a very quiet, mysterious character to a whiny little shit. And it's you just destroyed the character by having him there too much. In Ritual 7, most of our encounters with Sephiroth up to the Northern Crater, we're dealing with Jenova, not Sephiroth. And if we're now actually involved with Sephiroth more, it kind of changes what we experience, and it's got to be. They have to write it good.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like the
what- I mean,
biggest
yeah.
the biggest kind of dive into Sephiroth was what the Nibelheim sequence in the original, right? That's where he's doing all the research and then figures out what's what, and then kind of
goes crazy
from there. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, because funny enough, Darcy was the first time we saw real Sephiroth in the entire game, and it was in the flashback.
I honestly felt like in Remake though that like Sephiroth was just crammed in. Like he like they just wanted to make sure that he was in there.
To give us a final boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Not saying it was terrible. It felt ham-fisted. I wouldn't go as far to say as it didn't belong, because it didn't feel like it was like wildly out of place, and maybe that's a bit prejudiced by me having played the original, right? And saying, hey, he doesn't go here yet.
Like the first scene we had with Sephiroth in Remake.
For it, though. It's like it's hard because him showing up in the places that he does is the impetus for all the changes. And I agree that maybe the whispers were the ham-fisted part, not Sephiroth.
100%. Yeah, I definitely go with you there.
I don't know. I felt Sephiroth. I think it was just enough, and it was still just mysterious. We still got that whole 7 seconds till the end. Like, what the hell does that mean? So,
we're not far away.
We're not far away. I mean, maybe that's for the third game, but we'll see.
We're not far away, boys. Less than a month.
27 days for me.
For you, yeah.
Because I'm in the future.
Yeah, you're in the future. Tell us how the game is.
Interesting rumor, gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked last show about Visions of Mana being part of the Xbox Developer Direct show. And while searching online for Visions of Mana game on the Xbox site search result, it mentions Game Pass, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Visions of Mana.
Oh,
hold on.
Oh, wait, what?
Update. Breaking news.
Don't hurt my heart.
It's not going to be on Game Pass.
How dare you shatter my plan?
Damn it, Mike. Come on.
Xbox came out and said, we're aware that Xbox.com included language that indicated Visions of Mana was coming to Xbox Game Pass and can confirm that this was an error. While we are always updating the library and looking for new ways to provide members with value and choice, we do not have plans to bring Visions of Mana to Game Pass at this time. Like they were direct and as clear as they could be on that rebuttal. There was no like, we're always considering options. We'll see. They were like, no.
It's just hard fast.
No. I would actually imagine that there may be contractual reasons for that one.
And I think that the partnership that they're trying to forge, like, you need to like put an end to rumors like this. Like, unless there's something behind it, you got to smash them quick, because this is still too fresh. You don't want to sour Square Enix with Xbox right now. So.
Well, and remember, we saw into some Sony contracts a while ago where some of their plans involved, like when they made deals with different game companies, that they were putting contract language in that said, hey, you can't put this on somebody's subscription service for X amount of time or anything like that. Now, is that the case here? I have no idea. I've never seen the Visions of Mana or the Square Enix contracts, but you can bet that Sony tried. You can bet they tried. Here's a weird one for... Go ahead, Flynn.
Or it could be a bit like the newest Yakuza Like a Dragon game, where it's like, yeah, we might have bought all the stuff out of it, but it's a brand new title. We want to receive 100% of our sales and not worry about it being on the subscription platform, not make as much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough sell for the third parties, right? Like, if you're Xbox, right, you want your first-party titles to be on Game Pass because that's your company's strategy is to sell the subscription service. And if you've got to sacrifice maybe a potential little bit of revenue here and there on your big marquee first-party titles to get that longer-term subscription money to grow the platform that you're looking, it's fine, right? Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. We'll see over the coming years. But when you're an indie company, there's that potential of, hey, our game might get to 100,000 people, but if we put it on Game Pass and it's free on day one, millions will see it. And then that comes with the argument we've had on Gaming Gumbo quite a few times on how many of those actually convert to a purchase and which is more financially viable for the indie, and it probably varies by indie. But when you look at like Square Enix or a company like that that's doing big marquee third-party titles, there is, in most cases, not all, there's probably far less impetus to put your games on Game Pass. Like, Visions of Mana is going to sell. It's just a question of if Square Enix is forecasting correctly to make sure they sell as many as they need.
You beat me
but
to it.
But it's going to sell. Like, so why? Like, Xbox would love to have it just because, hey, the next Square Enix Mana title is free on Game Pass, baby. Come and get it. Like, yeah. But if you're Square Enix, you probably aren't interested in that type of deal, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
maybe for something for like Forspoken, hey, we think this is gonna be our next big IP, and let's, we want as many people to see it. Then maybe you take a kind of chance with Game Pass or something like that for a title like that. Obviously, too little, too late for that particular one. But as an example, yeah, I don't really see an impetus for Square to want to do that.
To piggyback on what you said, like Square already has enough issues with titles not meeting expectations. You don't need to be putting it on Game Pass and dropping all those sales that you might have gotten. So maybe down the road it comes to Game Pass. After the big sales push. After 3-4 months, maybe.
Yeah, what's the chance?
I can't wait for it, though.
Yeah, it looks great.
If you're looking for a Square Enix game to come to PC, though, that has not been on PC yet, and you're looking for something, to play, for some fucking reason, they're bringing Dragon Quest Builders 1, the original.
How old is that game?
2016.
To Steam.
Oh, okay. It's not as old as I thought it was.
Came out in 2016. The sequel's already on Steam, by the way.
Yeah.
Remember that. The sequel's already there. So...
And the sequel has co-op. Why would you go back to the first one?
Yeah. February 13th. So the day after my birthday, you could pre-order to play Dragon Quest Builders for launch on February 3rd. What a weird... Whatever.
Yeah. Just
hey, Flynn, what's going on with Tokyo RPG Factory?
So yeah, last show we were talking about that Square Enix are shuffling things around to save costs with their games, and part of that, it seems, is they have absorbed Tokyo RPG Factory back into the main company, which is a shame. They did have a couple of good titles, no smash hits. I Am Setsuna, Lost Fear and Odinaki, but still a shame that we are losing
all quality titles. Well, at least we haven't seen them lay off people like Xbox has yet.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. But
was it being 3,000 layoffs across the industry this year so far?
We are almost halfway to the layoffs we had in 2023 already.
Yeah, it's absolutely
as far
insane.
as sheer number of employees. Yeah. Well, there's a good way to end a show. Let's head over to Love It or Leave It. Love it or leave it is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I give you something Square Enix related, and you tell me whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it, never to see it again. And we're going to be specific. I'm not going to give you an option here on would you want, in this style or this style. If you can only have a Final Fantasy VI remake in the style of remake, rebirth from Final Fantasy VII, that's it. You either get it in that style and it's 15 to 20 years from now, or you don't get a remake at all. Love it or leave it, Tark.
So it's 15 to 20 years from now? God, what am I?
We'll say 10. Like, let's put a more
Okay.
realistic number
let's
on
see.
it so that it's 10 years from now. They decide 3 years from now to make it. They do a year or so pre-production, and then 3 years later they put it out. So we'll say like 8 to 10-ish.
I think at 53, I'm firmly cemented off of, back in my day and get off my lawn. So I'm going to say leave it. And I will go to the Pixel remasters or one of my other plentiful ways of playing that game.
Flynn?
Leave it.
That was quick. It was just like, leave it. Yeah, I'm going to leave it too. Honestly, if, like I've said it when we were talking about this, if I have to get a remake of 6, I'm all for it. And my brain immediately puts it in that 2.5 HD model. Like,
That's what that game is.
Yeah, that's what
Yes,
it belongs in. That's what
Yes.
it belongs in. So just do it that way. That's going to do it for us here today on the Relic Grind. We'll be back tomorrow on MMO Bomb with the Always Online podcast. And then Saturday, right back here for Gaming Gumbo, talking about the Sony State of Play and a few other fun game topics. We'll be back next week. Until then, Flynn, where can everybody find you?
You can find me over on Twitter at Flynn_Lowlight, and you can find me streaming on Twitch at Women Crisis.
Tark?
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoff Gaming. And you can find me here on Ready Check Radio on Saturday nights, where we're currently playing Control.
And then you're going to take a bath on Sunday.
And then take a bath on Sunday and then get foamed up, on the 6th.
Gross. Yo, Tark's gross. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Raideo, RAIDEO, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, a stream, some Final Fantasy trading card game, competitive season announced today, all 8 Materia Cups in their locations. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.